This is a Rogue Media Network podcast.
Bros and heroes. Gonna tell you about bros and heroes. Gonna tell you about
comic books, costumes, facts,
Boots!
and other stuff.
In this week's issue, Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees, issue 3.
Welcome into Bros, Foes, and Heroes. I'm Zach, joined as always by the spooky one,
Hello.
Mr. Mike. I
Was
know
that
we're
spooky?
that was close enough.
That's spooky-ish.
I know that we are in the month of February, which I guess
Oh, the spookiest month of the
people
year.
might think more of a month of love, but we just follow the release schedule when it comes to this, and
Yeah.
that is Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees, as we cover issue 3 today on the show. This is a series by Patrick Horvath that we've been covering. He wrote and illustrated it, and we've been covering it since it started back in October of last year. And it's been coming out bi-weekly. I think we got one in October, one in either November or December, and then this one came out this last week. So I went and picked it up. And it's just kind of one of the current series that's going on that we've had a lot of fun with, and one that I definitely recommend picking it up. Obviously, spoiler alerts, because we're covering the most current issue here.
Spoilers.
If you haven't read, if not, we're obviously going to break it down a little bit for Mike. I kind of just keep him. I'm that friend that kind of keeps him in the loop on comics by doing this.
That's right.
Is I just kind of tell him about, hey, I read this cool thing. This is
Yeah.
what happens. This is what's cool about it.
So, I used to be into comics.
Yeah.
A lot. And like this, last couple of weeks, I brought in a bunch of stuff I had in my attic.
Yes.
And so to look forward to this, down the line, we're going to start opening some of those really crappy comics that I had.
Yes. I have a pile. I didn't mean to cut you off. Go
No,
ahead.
you're good.
I was going to say, I have a pile that sits behind us in our workstation there. And it's there on purpose for if I have just a bit of downtime for me to grab one and to start reading it. And what I did is I purposely found the covers that just look the most ridiculous.
Yeah, and there's some bad ones.
There are some bad
Yeah.
ones. There's one that I don't know when we're going to get to it, but we are going to get to it. If anything, just off name alone, because it's called Sweet Meats.
Sweet meat.
It's about a vampire, I think. I think it's some kind of like spooky kind of. There's things like that. I know I have an issue about Soviet super soldiers.
When I
and,
look
like,
at that Sweet Meats thing, I think
it's all
like,
black and white.
Well, I think it's like American Psycho meets
Barbecue.
vampire,
Oh.
but with a girl. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, it just. Did you ever see American Psycho 2?
No, I never saw the second one.
It had
With Mila.
yeah,
Yeah.
Mia
Kunis. Yeah.
Kunis. Yeah, I didn't see it either.
No. Well,
I can't imagine that's any good.
that's. I don't know. Did you watch the Psycho remake with Vince Vaughn?
Oh, I love that, but it's a shot for shot.
Oh, is it?
It's a shot for shot reenactment.
But I have the same mindset thing. I think to myself, I've seen the first one. I'm
Yeah.
good. Like, I don't need
Yeah.
to see it with Vince Vaughn. So maybe people thought the same thing about American Psycho.
Yeah, but it's American Psycho 2.
That's true.
So
It's
that's
well, from my understanding, and this is me knowing just too much random stuff because I haven't seen the movie, is I think that it was made as a completely different movie, and the studio added the title to it to try to drum up more.
Oh, that makes total sense.
I think.
Yeah.
Like maybe they were like, oh, we can add a little bit like faint kind of connections here to make this all work.
Yeah, I know your movie was called Killer Lady. Now you're American Psycho 2.
And people will go see it because they think
Yeah.
it's but we are going to kind of stay in the realm of the serial killer. Would you consider Patrick Bateman a serial killer?
Oh yeah,
I
absolutely,
would.
100%.
Um,
Not Jason Bateman, but
no,
Patrick Bateman.
but Patrick Bateman.
Mhm.
But man, that business card. That's one of the scenes that I still oddly.
Oh yeah,
That there's things
a
about
good
that
movie.
movie. Oh yeah.
it's a good movie.
It's
creepy as hell,
But
it's good.
we will stay in that realm of just kind of deranged killers as we go ahead and get into issue 3 here of Beneath the Trees.
My
Where
theory
Nobody
is
Sees.
that he's actually nuts, though. The actor.
Christian Bell.
Yeah, I think he's actually nuts.
Oh,
I think that because I mean, look at the way he plays Batman. Look at the way he's played anything. He's one of those method guys, right?
Very much
I mean,
so.
he's
well, do you think there's something
what's his-
wrong with Daniel Day-Lewis?
yes,
Okay.
yeah,
fine.
definitely, yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah. I mean, because I don't think
Leto's like that.
who.
Jared Leto.
Oh, geez, I thought you were talking about Jay Leno. Leno's like that. He really gets into those characters when he's
One of my
talking about his
favorite-
cars.
Did you ever watch Craig Ferguson?
Yeah.
I love Craig Ferguson. One of my favorite bits that they used to do was the Jay Leno fly, though.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
He what was I saying?
Method actors and why you
Yeah,
think
method actors. So yeah, Daniel Day-Lewis. I mean, he's nuts, but he's a great actor because he pours himself into that. One of the examples I would use would be Jim Carrey when he played
Andy Kaufman.
Andy Kaufman.
That documentary
He
was
went
really
nuts.
good. Yeah, no,
He basically went nuts because he got into the mind of this character.
he did.
He's never been the same.
No, that's true.
He's a bearded weirdo now.
I wouldn't say weird. I don't know. He has some
No,
moments.
he's a weirdo,
somehow.
dude. Yeah, he's a weirdo.
We're all I'll quote
Yeah, we are.
Aesop Rock. We're all a bunch of weirdos on a quest to belong.
We
So,
are all a bunch of weirdos, but we're not all on an 80-foot screen.
That is very
So
true.
there you go.
Okay. Well, let's go ahead. And
Ha!
stick with-
Win.
I guess let me go ahead and give you a recap of where we are just to get us caught up here. Our main character is a bear. These are all anthropomorphic animals for the most part.
Good job on
think-
that word, by the way.
Thank you.
I stumble on that word a lot.
It usually gives me trouble, but today I got it. And I'm not going to repeat it again because why? So you knew
Yeah.
what I said. But it's essentially our world here is the busy world of Richard Scarry meets Dexter is
Yeah.
the best way that I like to describe it. Sam, she's our main character, and she is a veteran serial killer. I
Mm-hmm.
think that's the best way to put it. But she lives in this very quiet little quaint town named Woodbury or Woodbrook. I always forget every time when I go into it.
Woodbrook-Berry.
But it's just think like Mayberry, and that's
Yeah.
the
Well, I think the Richard Scarry comparison is very
hold on.
apt.
So
I mean, it's
it's a very just peaceful kind of like sweet like animal living talking animal
Yeah.
living town that you would think of.
Yeah.
Feels
feels very much like Stars Hollow, Gilmore
Exactly.
Girls ish, but it's all animals.
So
Yeah.
our main character Sam, who is also a serial killer, would leave this place though because it was her nice little peaceful quiet village, and she would
Yeah.
leave off into the big city where she
gotta
would
go
do
kill.
her terrible deeds, and
Dark
she
Passenger.
would. There you go. That's a good way to put it. And would
Isn't that what he called it?
painstakingly. I think you're right. Yeah,
Dark
Dexter did call
Passenger,
that. Yeah.
yeah.
She would painstakingly remove and take care of all the evidence and everything. She's been doing this for years. It's like
She would remove a lot.
she did.
Like she cut people into chunks.
And like put them in paint cans and
Yeah.
bury the paint.
Yeah.
Like it was very intricate. And
Yeah.
this is something she's been doing like once every 3 months, once every I don't know, but it's been going on for 20 plus years.
Sure.
And it's the way of her release. And then she drives back hours away as the city is from her place. And she drives back to her town to where she just owns her hardware store and she gets to live this perfect little life. Everything's perfect here. She goes and she takes care of that, dark entity that's in her.
Yeah.
And then she just comes back.
Her urges.
Exactly. She always makes sure that it's somebody,
Urges.
that it was a stranger that she didn't
Oh,
know.
yeah,
And
sure,
it was all
sure.
like she had all
Yeah.
these rules to make sure not to get caught. But there's another story. Mike
I'm so
honestly
sorry.
just
I just
headbutted
turned
the
my
mic.
head and hit the microphone. Oh,
I've
my.
never seen that happen.
I'm so sorry.
No, but so the
These
kinda
animals get me all riled up.
the secondary story is there's like the town is celebrating their 200th year anniversary, 100th year anniversary, whatever it is.
Right.
And so they're having a giant float for it. And in the process, the turtle, who may or may not have been the mayor at the time, I don't know, and still is loved by the town. There's a problem with the float, and it reveals that one of the townspeople has been murdered very gruesomely and it's kind of been hung up there on the float.
Yeah.
It sends the town into a panic. Everybody, the mole who works with Sam there at the
Not
hardware store, not
a literal mole.
a literal
Yeah.
a family of moles. Sam is best friends with, because Sam's kind of older, but remember she's best friends with a little quiet mouse
Right,
who's
right.
kind of sickly and getting older. Her and her son that live there. Everybody's just kind of scared of everything that's going on, except for a pig. Do you remember the pig
Oh,
from
yeah,
issue 2?
absolutely.
Cherry Gaskins, who was very much an angry, just asshole. There is no better way to put that to describe her character. But she was just rude and mean. And at a town hall meeting, she brings up how the police need to do more and how nobody's going to keep her from doing what she wants to do. And this pig is just very much of like, hey, this killer is trying to scare everybody.
Yeah.
We're not going to let them win. Like,
Yeah.
sticking up, this is our town kind of thing.
By the way, a group of moles is called a labor.
Oh, okay.
Just telling you.
There you go. Now I know.
I'm always interested as to what
I get that.
where that stuff is called and where it comes from.
So Cherry, even in her loud mouthness, there was a little bit to appreciate of the fact of like she wasn't going to let this killer ruin things that were going on in the town of Woodbury. All of while Cherry's throwing a fit, Sam is still trying to figure out, hey, who is doing all of this? Like who murdered old Martin, the librarian, the goat that they there? She's trying to figure out. It's interesting. Sam, our killer, is trying to find the killer before the actual cops do because she's afraid with all the poking around that they might stumble upon things that would elicit her in some of her acts. When she talks and she asks around, she finds out that there was somebody else there who was helping work on the float that the first victim was found on, which was a cat named Melody. And we know that she was allergic to lavender. Remember because the turtle telling her the story of like, oh, I do remember. I thought I was there by myself and I heard somebody sneeze.
Right.
So Sam thought, oh, maybe the cat here has something to do with it. We ended the last issue though Cherry went for a walk, and while she was out on her
your Sam's Cola here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I
I had asked you yesterday whether they were any good, and
they're not bad.
okay. All right. Sorry, folks. Just talking Sam's Cola.
But she went out for a walk by herself, kissed her husband, the owl, goodbye, which is an odd pairing for an owl and a pig.
Yeah.
But on her process out, she was caught by the killer, and they found her the next day just decapitated
Chunked
there
up.
in the middle of the school. We closed out issue 3 with her husband essentially telling the chief of police that they needed to do more. Like the town is now in full-on panic. We have victim number 2 of this Woodbury killer, and all of the townspeople are scared, and that is where we will pick up issue 3. And I love it. Did it again. As you open the cover, it has like a newspaper front page that gives your titles over and credits over here.
And I'm assuming you're going to say how they work the people that worked on the comic into the headlines.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
stuff.
So
cool.
like it has over on the side as part of like it has our headline of like Killer Strikes Again. Outspoken local figure found decapitated at gruesome scene. It's just like it's Woodbrook. I call it Woodbury. It's the two Woodbrook. Woodbrook Wanderer. Wanderer is the name of the paper.
Wanderer.
But they talk about how the police are baffled as they're trying to, hunt things down. And it has it as the byline, like the written and illustrated by Patrick Horvath, letters by Hassan Utsman Alua. I apologize if I butchered that. Editor Maggie Howe, assistant editor Jake Williams, and then product and design by Nathan Wittick. But
You did much better on that name than I would have done.
And I hope I got that right because it's all very like the lettering on this is so great too. We talked about it last week how it like interacted with the art, and then there's parts of where you can tell that it's written from a journal. The way it's like in here with it all, it's just all this whole thing is done really well. So kudos to them. But it also then has pictures of our 2 victims there, of the pig, Cherry, and then our goat, Martin. And we're opened up with scenes of different townspeople locking their doors. And we get narration from Sam over it talking about how that...
It's so weird how the hands are very human.
Even though they have the fur and stuff like they're animals. The problem with a monster is that they can hide in plain sight. None of the normal things work. Like, chances are that... they've already made themselves cozy, behind a locked door just like you, or maybe you've known them your whole life, like they could be your neighbor. Her illustration over all this is just really painting this great picture of, they'll nod their head, make you feel understood, do their best to make you feel comfortable. And we follow, after all those people locking, it follows this raccoon as she's making her trip somewhere, and she walks into the butcher. And we see the raccoon order something of like, hey, I'm glad you're open in all these dangerous times. I'd like 4 cutlets, please. And then there's a tiger who's like, oh, tell me about it. My kid's convinced that she's going to get murdered just walking to school. Oh, can I have 2 pounds of roast beef?
It's so
like,
weird that they're ordering meat.
It is very weird that they're ordering meat. I do kind of wonder if this is going to come up somehow before it's all said and done.
Yeah, you would think so.
Anyway, right now it's not. It's just animals as humans. And then part of me wonders is... if some of it's done to that to make it.
They come in and they walk right past like dead animals, like sausages and ham and steaks. And
it is weird.
All this, it's just odd.
It's very weird because we would it would be weird for us to walk by. A person shop.
Well, I think well, I think that the last issue had the pig lady walking past the place, and there was like a pig head in
It
the
did.
window.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so we
What a
see,
weird place to live.
and then we see another badger come in, and she's like, "Oh, it's enough to make you never want to leave the house again." And then we get a
What
chew.
does that say?
That's butcher twine.
Oh, okay.
And
Sorry.
then we get a chew from somebody
Oh,
sneezing,
watch
and we
out.
get, "Oh, bless you, Melody. Thanks, Mary, because our butcher is the cat."
Yeah.
See, this is what I love about this issue too, is because it told us flat out last issue that Melody the cat is allergic to lavender.
Yeah.
So we already know going in, and it is playing with you already, like the way it's setting this up about it being somebody you know, somebody you could
Yeah,
be friends
sure,
with.
sure.
The chopping of the meat as it does it all, like it wants you to be like,
Yeah.
all right, we know
Yeah.
who our person is now, and it does a really good job.
This is very
I will
much
see all this.
red herring in a movie kind of thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's done so well here, though, because she's like, "Oh, sorry, it must be my allergies." And she just goes through and it shows her working in the butcher shop and just a line of people. Obviously, in all these troubled times, they still are going to the local butcher shop
Sure.
to see her. At least it's some sort of like solace in
See,
a
the
way.
dog makes sense to me.
Yeah, the
right?
dog does.
Because they would eat any of
But
this
why
meat.
is there a raven there?
The bear makes sense to me because they would eat any of this meat. Raven, I don't know. And why is it so big?
There's multiple birds. I
Yeah.
don't know. We see though a picture of her.
I'm
and
just
her-
saying about animals eating animals. You know, I'm thinking like, okay, the dog's fine, the bear's fine. But when you start getting into a mole and a raven and stuff like that,
It
I'm
gets
like,
a little
that
weird,
is
yeah.
weird, yeah. And the
It's-
cat's cutting it all up.
Yeah, exactly. We see a picture of her and her husband. Apparently, they own the butcher shop together.
Her husband's who?
It's a cat too.
He's a cat as well.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's two cats. And so it shows her serving all the customers, and then she closes. She's open Monday through Saturday, 8:30 to 6:30, which is a heck of some hours too.
That is a lot of hours.
And it's her leaving, and she's walking by, and she walks past the hardware store, and we get to see inside the hardware store where Sam's talking to, I don't remember the mole's name, Charlie maybe, I think it is Charlie. And so our main character,
Charlie,
Samantha
for
the
some
bear,
reason, makes sense as
it
a
does.
mole's name.
It does.
Yeah.
But Sam and Charlie are talking, and Charlie's talking about like, "Hey, are you going to the funeral?" Talking about for Martin, the librarian go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He's like, "I don't know if I want to take the kids." Like,
He's the one
obviously,
that was up on the float, right?
he was the one
Yeah.
on the float.
Okay.
And Charlie the mole's just like, "I know I always say that Woodbrook is a bit boring, but honestly, man, I wish it would go back to being as boring as it would be. Like,
Yeah.
I'm kind of tired of all this." And
I'm
Sam's
tired
like,
of all this
"Yeah,
murder.
And Sam's just kind
Murder's
of
whack.
listening, and she's like, "Yeah, no, you're right, Charlie." And she hears a sneeze, and it catches her eye as she looks outside to see Melody pass by. And we get more narration, because all the narration from Sam I love is it's like on notebook paper, so it looks like it's a journal entry.
Yeah.
And so she says, "So when you're
it
searching for a
probably is,
monster
yeah.
that can hide in plain sight, you can't trust your eyes. You got to follow your nose." Like it's making you think. And I love this scene because it's 2 full pages. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 12 different panels. I could have done that to myself. And there's not a single bit of dialogue in it, but it tells a whole story.
Yeah.
So we see that Melody's gotten home. She throws her keys there. She's making a steak. Makes sense as a butcher.
Sure. Well,
Make-
as a cat also.
Well, that too.
you know.
Make steaks for dinner. She's listening to music as she cooks.
Yeah.
She eats. She
She's
finishes.
got the little sprigs in there with the
Yeah,
meat
no,
and
she
everything.
goes up.
She's a very
she
good
finishes. She looks across. There's nobody there to eat with her.
cook. Yeah.
She goes back. We get an outside view, which makes it look like somebody's watching her. She's washing her dish. She's putting it ready. She's drying off. She's going to leave. And now we see shoes outside of the
Yeah.
window that was
Yeah.
watching her. Because we then hear a noise like of water coming from the bathroom, and it's Melody brushing her teeth. And we look through the
Yeah.
blinds of a closet, and we see Sam's eye. She's obviously hiding in the closet watching.
Yeah.
And we see Melody walk in, and it says, "Hey, sweetie."
Because there's somebody already laying in the bed.
Already laying
you
in
can't
bed,
tell who it is.
but limp wrist hanging
Yeah.
off the edge of
Yeah.
the bed. "Hey, sweetie." And again, we talked about the letters. I love how, again, it looks like it's cut off on purpose behind the door.
Yeah.
Like they do just small
No, it's
things
very
like that are
purposeful.
great.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he's like, "It's been a miserable day." And she
Yeah.
closes the door behind her. So something doesn't seem right there with Melody. we go back to the next day, and so we don't go back. We move forward to the next day.
What is this person? What are they?
I think it's like a muskrat or like a meerkat or something.
Couldn't figure out what they were.
But it's
Most of the animals, you can tell exactly what they are. That one is tough.
it is
She's got a
kinda
wig
tough.
on.
But it is a newscaster kind of giving a update of like fear, paranoia, and intrigue with the killer at large. Like the sheriff's department's trying to do everything they can. They don't have any leads. Right now, the list of victims grows. The questions at mind, like, is anyone safe? When will you strike? All that kind of
No one's safe.
kind of talk. Melody's walking by, just kind of distracted by it, and she walks by Sam, and Melody just says, "Oh, good morning, Samantha," and then Sam, "Oh, good morning, Melody. Hey." And it's one of those that you can see they both act friendly to one another, but when they pass, both of their faces just kind of change.
Yeah.
And so it's like a ships in the night type.
Do we have
passing thing.
any inkling as to why they don't kind of like each other?
We're gonna get into.
We haven't heard that yet, though.
No,
right?
no,
Okay.
no. We
All
don't know anything yet now, but we're
I didn't
gonna
think
get into
so, but I was
something
just
a
double-checking.
little bit more
Yeah.
interesting there. So we go back to the butcher shop,
Uh-huh.
and with her narration again, I love the "Can you spot a monster? Could it be your friend? Could it be the butcher?"
Yeah.
Like, and it shows, and it's intercut with her like sitting there just serving different customers and chopping meat. You get the ding of the bell. You get
This
her.
reminds me of like my favorite part of Evil Dead, where you get those quick cuts to things.
Yes.
You know, and so this is like a quick cut to the numbered being torn, a quick cut to her chopping a chop, a quick cut to the bell over the door, a quick cut to her sawing ribs. You know, I mean, just kung, 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 all
And
these
I love
things.
the quick cut. The dog super excited, which goes into what
Sure,
you're.
yeah.
But I also love every time it shows her, it's completely red in the
Uh-huh,
background
yeah,
too, to
yeah.
make you believe that this.
Yeah.
But the narration over while she's serving the customers is, can you spot the monster? Could be your friend, could be your neighbor, could be the butcher whose dead husband may or may not actually be buried in the ground. Who's to say?
Wait, it says the butcher, and their husband could be buried in the ground. Huh?
No, who may not be.
Oh, may
So
not
Sam-
actually be buried. Oh, okay.
So we find
okay.
out now from that little just piece of dialogue.
People think he's dead.
People think he's dead. Well, she was sitting across from an empty table.
Yeah.
She was like planning like it was.
But he's
But
actually.
when she went to bed, there was somebody in bed whose
But-
arm was just hanging off
Yeah,
the
but
side
we
of the
didn't
bed.
hear that person
We
say
don't know.
anything. We didn't see their face. Nothing.
So Sam is very
Sketchy.
Exactly. She thinks something is up with the butcher for sure with all this.
By the way, whomp, ding ding, zut zut zut, shunk, squirt, splut. Those are all the sounds
great
from the
sound
panels.
effect
Thank
work
you very
on here.
much. Appreciate it. I do my own Foley.
Oh, I could tell. So we then cut to the evening that night, and Sam is locking up the hardware store, and all the Mole family is going to walk home together because obviously we're all just going to do it together as a family just to be
Sure.
safe.
Sure.
And they ask her,
Can
Sam,
moles
if
see in the dark?
I think so. I don't know.
Is that their thing?
Well, they can't. I don't know.
Oh, I don't know. I don't remember.
But they asked Sam if
They all have glasses.
they do. I love
which is
that.
weird to me.
They asked Sam if they want her to, or if she wants them to wait for her to walk her home, and she's like, no, that's okay. You guys go ahead. Like,
Yeah.
I got one more thing. I'm just gonna tie my shoe, and then, you know what? I realized I just left my jacket back at the store. You guys
Whoops.
go ahead, and like, I'll catch up with you. And they're like, okay, well, be safe. And she's like, I promise you guys, I will. And there's a reason why, and that is because she has a plan. And we see her. I love the way that they did this. We just get an outside shot of the butcher shop just from street view. And the next panel,
Just like a single light under the door.
and the next panel is Sam standing in place of that same picture as she's blocking the door.
Yeah.
And she's standing across the street from it. And you see a
Staring
brick in
at
her
it.
hand.
Yeah.
Like she has a plan of something she's about to do. And Mike, do you want to know what she does?
What does she do?
I'll tell you about it right after this break.
If you go down in the woods today, you're sure of a big surprise. If you go down in the woods today, you'd better go in disguise. Beneath the trees where nobody sees, they'll hide and seek as long as they please. That's the way the teddy bears have their picnic.
Welcome back into Bros, Foes, and Heroes.
Why,
My
thanks.
voice decided to go out on me, bros. But still.
Hey, by the
um,
way, moles, they
can
do
they
have
see?
they do have eyes, and they are not
They
blind.
do have eyes.
They're
Wow.
they are not blind. but they
was
have
kinda
very poor vision. So I like the fact that he put glasses on all of them. That's kind of cool.
The whole family does have glasses.
Yeah, because they all have bad eyesight.
That is funny. I don't know why I sounded so mean saying
Moles.
that. They have eyes.
Oh, I don't care. Moles can only see dark and light. There's no mid for them.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. Well, you learn something new every day.
Yeah. I'm enjoying this, learning about all these animals.
Oh, yeah?
Great.
Is that your favorite part of this?
A
is learning
labor
about animals?
And
Oh,
blind
a labor
moles.
and blind
Yeah.
moles. You learned a lot about moles today.
No, I like this comic book. I think it's great. I think it's a really good story, and it would make a great like animated feature kind of
But
thing.
it's
Kind
also
of
the
like
animal
Watership
facts,
Down
too.
kind of stuff, right?
That'll
You know,
mess with you.
Yeah,
If you don't know what you're getting into with Watership Down, that'll throw you for a loop.
Yeah, if you don't want to watch that, you know, and you're touchy as far as these movies and stuff go, watch Old Yeller. Really great. It give you a good feeling, make you happy. Got a boy and his dog.
Yeah, nothing goes wrong there.
You ever seen that movie, A Boy and His Dog?
No,
It's about like nuclear war.
no.
Huh, okay,
Wow. All right.
that was a little depressing, also.
It was. Well, let's continue to be. I teased you a bit before we went to break. Let me go ahead and tell you what Sam does then. Now.
Yeah, so we got Sam standing in the dark, looking across at the butcher shop
With a brick in
with
hand.
a brick in her hand.
Well, in the next panel, we get the crashing sound of the brick going
I thought
through
she
the window.
might use the brick. Yeah.
And an alarm going off. And again, I'm going to brag about it every time we see
Oh,
it.
yeah.
The burr from the alarm goes from one panel
Oh yeah, it's so
all the
cool.
way down, and it turns into the ringing of the
Phone
phone
ringing,
in the
yeah.
next panel.
Yeah, that's
And
awesome.
it's so good.
Uh-huh.
But Melody answers the phone. Obviously, it's the alarm company to tell
Somebody
her,
stole
like,
your
hey,
meat.
yeah, something's going on. She's like, what? The shop right now? Yeah, no, I'm on my way. Thanks. And she says, sweetie, I have to go. There's been a break-in at the shop, is what Melody says as she puts her clothes on.
Yeah.
She grabs her
Wait,
keys.
let me see that panel where
she
she
leaves.
says that. Oh,
Which one?
Okay, so
The-
she's in bed,
Yeah.
but we can't see if
We
there's
can't see
anybody
what's
on the
next to
other
her.
pillow.
No, they
How-
do a very good job of this.
However, I want you to think about this. She's in if you look at the bed, she's in the right-hand side of the bed. She reaches all the way over to the left, which would be over the other person or whatever is in the bed to get to the phone.
That is true.
Okay. And then she says, "Hey, sweetie, I'm leaving. I got to get somebody to break in," but you don't see anything behind her.
Nope, you don't.
Okay.
And she goes to leave, and Sam waits for the car to pull out of the driveway.
By the way, her car says Chawutwut.
Well, it also says vroom when she leaves.
Chawutwut vroom.
So Sam is able
But
to
this even
pick
says
the
scoop
lock.
when she picks up her keys.
Dude, they're
scoop.
so good. I love the
Yeah.
sound effect.
Yeah, it's great.
She's able to pick the lock of the sliding glass door, and she slides open to sneak in. 'Cause
Oh, so
she's-
Sam's at her house.
Sam's at her house.
Ah,
Sam
okay,
used
we're fixing
it.
to find out. All right, I got you.
Sam's using the time to snoop around more to get to the bottom of why
Mm-hmm.
she suspects this from Melody.
Yeah.
So I'm doing the good old.
I know you're having to hide it. I
I'm
get it.
doing
Yeah,
the good
sure.
old fold.
I'm not
just
gonna look.
to,
I'm
no,
not
I
gonna
know.
look, yeah.
I know, just to keep things building. So she has a headlamp on too.
Yeah.
And she's going through, and she looks through the kitchen. There's
Itty-bitty
nothing.
headlight.
She goes up and down the hallway. We see a picture of Melody and her husband there on the wall.
He was a fox.
Was he? He kind of looks like a cat.
Right?
I don't know. And she walks into this.
No, I just meant he's really good looking.
Oh yeah, no, he is. What's confusing with this, with it being animals? And she opens the door, and she sees all these stuffed heads
Ah.
on the door, and it takes her back for a bit. And she goes, "Is this felt?" Like
Right.
she can't tell
Yeah.
if they're real or not. And then she goes, "Bathroom," and she goes to look in the bathroom, and she opens the door. And about that time, as she opens the door, sorry, I'm getting a little.
Yeah.
There we go. She walks in and goes, "Oh, I see." And as we look into the bedroom, we see him laying there.
Yeah.
And she goes, "That's a pretty good likeness too." As she kind of picks up and like fills the arm
Yeah,
and stuff like
yeah.
that. But about that time,
She says that's a good likeness.
likeness.
Huh.
And about that time, there's a click as the hall room light comes on, and
Yeah.
she's obviously in trouble. So she goes and she hides in the closet where
Yeah.
she was before.
Yeah, you got the stereotypical looking through the blinds of
With
the
the look over
closet.
the-
Yeah.
and as she's looking there,
Very noir kind of lighting.
because Melody's back, and Melody goes, "Good news and bad, or bad news and good news, sweetie." She goes and she turns the light on in the bedroom where
Yeah.
Sam's in there. And she goes, "Somebody decided to throw a brick through the shop window," and Sam's just kind of watching.
Yeah.
And he say, "The good news is that nobody took anything." Again, I'm telling you, I'm going to brag about it every time. Through the slits
Yeah, it's
of
cool.
the
Yeah.
It takes away from the word
Yeah.
bubble, and it
No,
does
it's very
really well.
nice. Yeah, very well done.
I just want
Very
to point out what I
stylized.
noticed. Yes. And then she says, "So good luck, bad luck. I'm gonna hop in the shower and try to relax." And Sam hears the water rushing as the door closes, and so she's gonna use that to sneak out. And we see a speech bubble as Sam sneaking out behind her, and it goes, "I wasn't sure who to expect, but I never would have guessed you, Sam."
Oh wow.
And we turn around, and Melody has a gun pulled on Sam
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
And she goes, "Planning on murdering someone tonight?"
Oof.
And Sam goes, "I know this looks bad, but you were the last one with Birdie that night Martin was killed, and you're allergic to lavender. So I thought maybe," and Melody, still holding the gun though,
Yeah.
looks just very shaken up, and just
Sure.
she goes, "So you thought that I killed Martin?" And she,
Yeah.
like she's just
Yeah.
kind of, and Sam tells her, "And that's possibly that you had a dead body in your bed." Like she's just
Yeah.
laying it all out there for her.
Yeah.
And Melody just kind of sits down next to her on the couch and just sets the gun. Like it's just hitting her that she thought,
Well, it's a little bit of a relief. I would imagine
in
as
a way,
well.
that
Yeah.
she's not going to get murdered. But at the same time, it's her
She's
being
gotta
like,
tell
"Oh,
the
you
whole
thought this
story."
was all
Yeah.
me." And she's sitting there and she goes, "And you've been spying on me?" And Sam tells her, "Sorta, yes. Sorry about that." And Melody has this very kind of moment. She goes, "We had everything, Sam. We had the shop. We had the life we always wanted. After Frank died, it all became a mask I wore so people would stop worrying about me.
Wow. So he did die.
But I got lonely. Having something in bed with me helps." She goes, "Sometimes when I wake up, I almost forget he's not real." So it's just a fake body that she just kind of has there in bed with her, kind of made out of felt and stuff, to have something kind of there. And she goes, "Please don't tell anyone." And Sam tells her, "Not a word, I promise."
So wait.
And Melody, crying, goes, "Now get out of my house, Samantha."
Well, sure. But wait. So she said, "We had everything we wanted about me, but I get lonely having something bad. Sometimes I want to please don't tell me." Okay, so it is a fake body.
It is a fake body.
Okay, all right. Okay,
She's using it just to help
So,
her grief.
but what
of
about the
losing her
heads?
husband? They're all felt like
Oh,
she thought
okay.
it was.
All right.
They're just different ones that she switches out, either just, I guess, for wear and tear stuff, like things like that. But no, it's just something that Melody has done to help her process her grief of not having her husband. As she says that, sometimes I wake up in the middle of the night and I forget that he's, not even
yeah,
there.
sure,
Like
sure.
And so it just makes a lot of sense of why that's there now. And all of a sudden it's Sam being like, "Oh, okay. Like I was wrong there again then." And she obviously tells Sam to leave her house. And now we're met with a funeral scene for Martin, who was the goat.
For some reason, I'm very upset about this rooster in a suit.
The rooster and a tiger hanging out.
Yeah,
together.
I don't know. I don't understand the rooster in a
You're
suit.
going to do it of all days on Big Red's
And
funeral.
why is the rooster so big?
Because
They're all comparable in size.
It's Big Red.
Anyway, all right.
All right, we only got 3 more pages.
No, you're good.
here. No,
Yeah,
you're
yeah, this is great.
And we get more. I like this kind of
This
introspection.
funeral's taken
too.
a while, by the way, to
It
come
is.
around.
It is. Or also, like, not a lot of time has passed in these issues. We can
That's
look at
true.
it too
Yeah,
that way.
either way.
Sam's narration says, "I don't pretend to know what it means to them. I know what's expected of them or of me at something like this. I do enough to not be noticed and to kind of blend in, but I do find it interesting."
This is like
This-
the psychopath part of her
Yeah,
talking.
this is
or
this is the Dexter part of her talking as
Yeah.
she's kind of people watching, and she goes, "And I know, like, I've caused this for countless others." Like, she's realizing, like, I know what's kind of going on here. I know I'm the cause of this for other people. Like,
Yeah.
she goes, "When I choose someone and make them disappear, I imagine what I cause kind of must be even worse because there's no rhyme or reason to it." In a way, it's like she's
But she
her
doesn't care.
She
I
doesn't,
mean-
but she's just having these just kind of
Yeah,
realizations as
she
she's
just
watching
doesn't have those kind of
everything.
feelings.
Yeah. She goes, "To be honest, it's fascinating to watch. And I know whoever caused this has to be here watching today, too. I bet they wouldn't miss this for the world." Because in her mind, she's like, yeah, there is all, like, it's weird to see all these people deal with death and how they're reacting to it, how they're interacting with one another. But at the same time, the guy who caused this, he wants to see all his, or the person who caused this, they want to see all their work. Like, they're not going to miss this for the entire world. And she notices that as she looks around. And we have the pastor who's reading, kind of welcoming everyone
Sure,
there.
sure.
And he's like, "Friends and family, I'd like to begin with a prayer. And everybody, kind of starts to bow their heads. And it goes, please bow your heads. And then all of a sudden you hear, chew, another sneeze. And Sam turns to look to see who it is. And we hear the pastor go, dear Lord, we thank thee for our friend, dear Martin, as Sam just kind of looks and sees who it is with just a, I'll be damned as her thing, because it's her friend's son.
Oh,
The little mouse
yeah.
is the guy sneezing, and we get the cover to tease next week's issue.
Wow.
And it's him with like a little briefcase, but it's pictures of Sam in there.
Well, there's
It's
also pictures
of
of
skulls.
yeah.
It's we
That
might
is-
have finally found.
That is a bear skull too, and the only reason I know that is because I used to have a video store down here by Baylor called Campus Video, and our logo was like a bear skull,
And that's what it looked like?
Whatever, yeah, it looked just like that. Yeah,
So we now know potentially. I say that because we thought it was going to be the cat.
yeah.
It could be.
Well, it's a red
her-
herring. It's a misdirection.
It could be another one,
Still
or
could be,
we do
yeah.
have something interesting because it could be her best friend's son who was the killer. Then
yeah, I don't know.
it'll be interesting. We also get the cover that we had of Melody and her.
Yeah, I love that. But
doll
this one
husband,
is super
and then
interesting
The alternate cover here,
because I don't
which
know what
is
this
really good.
means.
I don't know either. I think it just looks really cool.
It's her, but she has no pupils, and she's looking down at a doorway that's in her chest, and her hands are just covered in blood,
Yeah,
like in almost like a grip, like she's about to grip somebody by the neck or something.
and just ring them. It's really cool
Huh.
looking though.
Yeah, and then
Yarn and
Yeah,
the
and her
hammer and
tools,
nails.
yeah.
Yeah, I like that. But no, so there you
no,
go.
it's beautiful
Uh,
cover.
Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees, issue number 3 by IDW, and I can't wait for issue number 4, which I think obviously I'll have to wait until April. But when
Well,
that
what's
comes
going to be
out,
so cool is when you get to the end of this and able to put all these together and just read it
yeah.
all the way through. That'd be kind of cool.
see, and that's what I think. Like we're obviously doing this issue by issue, but once I get
Yeah.
all 6 of them, then I'll probably reread the whole thing all together.
So
as
this
much
is
as to see
6
it all.
issue limited.
I'm pretty sure it's going to be 6, and we're at the halfway point then right
Mm-hmm.
now, which would make sense that we would finally find, I think, in this story who our killer was, because I think we're going to have a little bit of a dance back and forth.
Yeah,
then.
sure. I get that.
Um,
So have we not seen any cows?
no, we have not seen any cows.
Okay. So they're all eating cows, apparently. Cows are way down on the
On the scale.
food chain here, I guess.
Yeah.
Huh.
But
But we have seen pigs.
we have seen
Cut
pigs. Well, yeah,
Yeah.
and dead.
Huh.
Beneath the Trees
Well,
Where Nobody Sees. issue
Horvath,
3.
right?
Yes, Patrick Horvath.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful stuff.
Oh,
Good.
it's great.
And the story's cool too.
It
Like
is.
in the pacing of it's just really good. Like it's very much a whodunit pacing.
Oh, for
Yeah.
sure. I don't know exactly what we're going to do next week, Mike, and that's kind of the beauty of it. We'll just surprise you with this.
Well, next week is going to be the grab bag, right? We're going to grab out
I
of
think
some of my
I think
old
I think
crap.
I'm gonna find some of the
Yeah.
grab bags to dig into.
Yeah.
I just don't know which exact
Yeah,
ones
yeah,
yet.
I get you.
There's a lot of stuff. I know we teased some. I know that I have one about that's a Ninja Turtles and a haunted pizza that we can
Haunted
get to at
pizza.
some point in time. I'm hoping to find something just really bad in there.
So let me speak to this just real quick.
Yes.
I probably let's see. I think y'all said that those comics were from about 97.
It was like no, it was earlier than that.
really.
Well, I know that we got everything from like 91, 92 all the way to about 96, 97.
Because I know that Death of Superman was in there.
93 was
so
that
that's
the Superman.
93?
I
So,
think
okay.
it's 93.
So I think we're dealing with 92 through like 94.
Yeah.
Right.
It's the golden age of bat. So I say that you, and obviously you know this as being somebody who lived through it. But it was
The war.
Well, no, I say that like I was around for it too, but it hit me different as a kid than it did as somebody who was older, especially since you had to deal with buying comics and stuff. But this is the 90s of where like there is so much product out there.
Oh
And
yeah.
just like it is.
It was killer. I mean, it was just stacks and stacks on stacks.
like this
But-
is what led to the collapse of it in a way.
Yeah,
was just
yeah,
how
yeah.
much that was out there.
But what I was going to say is at this time I was running an outlet store in the big city of Hillsboro, Texas.
Woo, woo.
It was a video, music, And then I convinced them to bring in comic books and T-shirts and stuff like that. And so I would buy comics every week from Diamond Distributing.
Who was the only distributor at the time?
Yeah,
for
they
all
were
the
pretty
big
much the
ones?
only one. And then because I remember when Dark Horse started, I remember when Image started, all of that stuff, right, from about that time. But I would basically order all this stuff, and I didn't know anything about any of them, but I would order whatever looked cool, you know, and then I would buy myself a copy from it because I was getting them all at you know, cost.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of comics in there that are in bags that I've never even opened them. But there were stacks of comics. It was
Oh yeah.
it
No, there was a
probably-
lot of stuff we went through.
What do you think?
it's-
How many do you think? Like 150?
Oh, easily.
Yeah.
There was a lot. And
There were
we'll
a lot
go
of
through some
comics.
of that stuff.
And you and Mason Mason especially just
Yeah.
drooled over all of it.
Oh, it
Like,
was
he
so fun. But yeah, no, I just love going. It's just
Well,
like
that's great.
It's a time capsule.
I'm glad that it turned into something. That's cool. And being able to go through those things will be really, that'll take me way back.
Oh yeah, no, it'll be fun.
Yeah.
So we'll go and dive into the grab bag for next week to close out February, and then I don't know. I'll have to figure out what
Screw
to
you,
do for March.
February.
Also, what we'll do is it came out already, and we'll tease it a bit. I know you've seen it, but we'll go ahead and we'll be a bit late, but we'll talk about it some. The new Deadpool trailer.
Yeah, I think we're going to do a little bonus where we're just going to kind of react to the Deadpool trailer because I've got some stuff
Yeah.
to say about it. Yeah.
I enjoyed it. And
Yeah.
that's all I'm going to say. We'll get more
it's
into that
exciting.
obviously when we do that. So
Yeah.
we'll look at that. And also, I told Mike we'll go ahead and cover Deadpool before the movie comes out in July too.
It's
So,
amazing that Ryan Reynolds has done all the stuff he's done
Oh,
because
yes.
he very rarely lets you down.
no, that's very true.
There's a couple of movies that are kind of iffy,
But not a lot.
You ever seen The Voices? The
I
one
know
where-
it. I haven't seen it.
Where
Though.
he's
Where
a
he's the
serial
killer.
killer?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
I've
very
heard- I've
good.
heard it's good. I
It's
just
very
haven't seen
good.
it.
It's full of humor. Like
Yeah.
it's got a lot of funny stuff in it.
Hey, you know, we here on the podcast love Ryan Reynolds. I don't know what he cares
I do
or
love
what
Ryan
he thinks about
Reynolds,
us, but we love Ryan Reynolds.
I think I would be very surprised if people had bad things to say about him.
Same.
Plus, he's Canadian.
Yeah.
So, you know, they have to be nice.
Well, I don't know if they have to be, but still.
It's in the charter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What charter?
Vancouver v. Johnson from 1852.
Good enough for me.
I didn't
All
make
right.
up any of that.
Nope, not at all. As always, we appreciate you guys taking the time out to listen. Make sure to check out Rogue Media Network and the Rogue Media Network family of podcasts.
RogueMediaNetwork.com.
And until next time, stay safe, everybody.
Golly God.
Pros and heroes. Gonna tell you about pros and heroes. Gonna tell you about.
This has been a Rogue Media Network production.